Hello everyone. Yeah, good afternoon, Dia. Sir, I was in the wrong group, hence I didn't know the change timing were confirmed. Okay, no problem. So you are comfortable attending it online, right? So please do that. And कल से आओ, ठीक है? And प्रिया, जब चश्मे के बिना ना सही अंदर है। हाँ, so अच्छा, आ जाओ, आ जाओ, आ जाओ. Okay, no problem. गुड आफ्टरनून प्रिया. ओके, हाय विष्णु. चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं, है ना? तो देखो, अभी आज फटाफट से वो लिख करके एंड देन आपको गुजरात डॉक्ट्रिन तो करा दी थी ना अच्छे से, ठीक है? और अभी जल्दी से जो है मोदी पीएम मोदी के अंडर की फॉरेन पॉलिसी को लिख करके और फिर जो है स्टार्ट करते हैं अपना नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, इंडिया चाइना. ओके, सो जस्ट राइट, नरेंद्र मोदी became the prime minister of India in 2014. ठीक है? Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister of India in 2014. Okay, and foreign policy reflects his foreign policy reflects strong leadership, strong leadership, innovative diplomacy, innovative diplomacy, and increasing focus on India's global rise. Okay, and increasing focus on India's global rise. Okay, so अभी focus क्या है? So what is the major focus now of the foreign policy? It is basically on the innovative style. Okay, so the style is innovative. The style has been shifted to global engagement. Okay, and personal diplomacy. So just write the next point. Now the focus of India's foreign policy is on, as it is on, then put this. So India first and global engagement. Okay, दिया क्वेश्चन में. ओके, तनीषा है. मैं दिया एक्चुअली मुझे पता नहीं लगा है कि हु इज दिया. दिया, आर यू कमिंग ना? तो सुनो, फोन मत चलाओ, रास्ते पर ध्यान दो एंड आ जाओ जल्दी, ठीक है? फिर क्योंकि रास्ते में आप चलाओगे फोन तो फिर जो है दिक्कत है. तो चलो, तो नाउ ये लिख लिया आपने, ठीक है? सो इंडिया फर्स्ट एंड ग्लोबल एंगेजमेंट, ठीक है? तो अभी लिखो, एंड देयर इज एन इंक्रीजिंग फोकस ऑन, देयर इज एन इंक्रीजिंग फोकस ऑन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट एंड ग्लोबल लीडरशिप. ठीक है? नेशनल इंटरेस्ट एंड ग्लोबल लीडरशिप. Put the main heading, what are the features of Modi doctrine? ठीक है? What are the features of Modi doctrine? तो मोदी डॉक्ट्रीन के फीचर्स क्या हैं? So features of Modi doctrine. So first feature, right? Personal diplomacy. देखो, तो पहला फीचर, व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट फीचर ऑफ मोदी डॉक्ट्रिन? दैट्स पर्सनल डिप्लोमेसी. बताया था ना मैंने आपको. नाउ द फोकस इज शिफ्टिंग on building personal relationship with the world leaders. All right, so right now the emphasis is on, now the emphasis is on emphasis is on building personal relations with the world leaders. Building personal relations with the world leaders. ठीक है, तो world leaders के साथ they will be like he is basically trying to build the personal relationships with the world leaders. ठीक है, और उन personal relationships के basis पे इंडिया की foreign policy को conduct किया जा रहा है. What is the logic behind building the personal relationship? So the logic is that by building the personal bond with the world leaders, the national interest is advanced in a greater way. You can personally convey about your national interest to the other leader, okay, rather than being using several other channels, for example conveying letters, writing the mail and everything whatsoever be. It is better to basically convey the message personally over a phone call. The logic behind this is that strong personal bonds. The logic behind this is that strong personal bonds helps in advancing national interests. Helps in advancing national interests. ठीक है? How please? Helps in advancing. आगे बैठो, आगे, पीछे क्यों बैठना है इतना? Helps in advancing personal interest. ठीक है? National interest, sorry, personal interest. So, personal interest. So now next feature is जिसको क्या कहते हैं, रिटेल डिप्लोमेसी. ठीक है, कल बताया था मैंने आपको रिटेल डिप्लोमेसी, जिसका मेन एलिमेंट है लीडर्स टू पीपल डिप्लोमेसी. ठीक है, after Modi, then what is usually practiced will be done. What always happens will be done then. The negative, if you really want to say some negative about it, it is that in turn, if for example Modi is not there, then yes, you can say if the other leader don't prefer that particular world leader, let's say X, Modi is having good relations with X. Now the another leader, if don't prefers to maintain that kind of relation, in that there are chances that more advancement of the national interest will not happen at that time, because that kind of bond will not be there with the other leader. Okay, at the time I won't say ki any decline in relation will happen, but I would say major emphasis will not be there at that time. Okay, that type which is there in personal diplomacy. ठीक है, तो लेट कैसे हो गए आज? हाँ, अच्छा वहां चले गए थे, वो मैसेज नहीं दिखा था. अच्छा, चलो कोई बात नहीं. सो लिखो अंडर दिस टाइप ऑफ डिप्लोमेसी. देखो इसमें एंगेजमेंट जो है वो कैसे होता है, एंगेजमेंट केवल गवर्नमेंट का नहीं होता है. ठीक है, अंडर दिस टाइप ऑफ डिप्लोमेसी द एंगेजमेंट्स आर नॉट लिमिटेड टू द गवर्नमेंट्स, and it also includes and
Sir, can you repeat last line?
So in this type of diplomacy, the engagements are not just limited to the governments, not just limited to the governments. ठीक है, and it also includes business leaders, comma students, workers, ठीक है, students, workers, comma religious leaders, and the purpose of this is to build people level connections, ठीक है, and the purpose of it is to build people level connections, ठीक है, इसका पर्पस है कि लोगों तक के कनेक्शंस बढ़ाने हैं, ठीक है, need to build people level connections, all right, ठीक है। अब देखो इसमें एक और है, cultural and civilizational diplomacy. Now, the major emphasis is on basically portraying our culture, using the cultural element, okay, in promoting the diplomatic angle, all right. Now, the emphasis is on basically, for example, the major element of this is the internationalization of yoga. So, yoga is seen as a symbol of India's soft power. And by promoting yoga at international level, Prime Minister Modi has in turn advocated for India's cultural supremacy, which the world has accepted, okay, by providing yoga international recognition. Are you getting the point? So that is also a tool to promote our national interest in turn to and by basically promoting the India's cultural and civilizational values. Yoga is one of those many examples that are used by the present government. Okay. The another thing is basically what happens whenever Prime Minister goes abroad, he always visits either the temples there, okay, or not just the Hindu temple, but any other like temple that is associated with any other religion. That is, like, just take an example, when Prime Minister goes abroad in any Muslim country and visits their cultural shrine, it does not just symbolizes the visit of a head of the state to a cultural shrine. It basically symbolizes the unification of two civilizations. Modi abroad is a representative of entire Indian civilization. Now it means that civilizational is increasing its connection with that another civilization where Prime Minister Modi is visiting. That increases the bond. And the reflection of it is just in the present time when the war is going on, India is emerging to be seen as the best country that can play a possible role in mediation, because we have the similar good, amazing and cultural ties with both Israel as well as Iran. That is the main reason, right? So the promoting this India's civilizational and cultural values, in turn, what it does, it promotes India's soft power. There are two types of powers: soft power and hard power. Hard power is the military and all, nuclear, militarization, nuclearization and everything. But soft power is, see what we are wearing nowadays, what we are watching, what we are eating. What is, which country plays the major role in that? The Western countries. We are going towards pizza, pasta, spaghetti, right? We are moving towards wearing jeans. We are moving towards wearing the Western blazer, suit, tuxedo. We are watching the American films, web series. What is that? That is a reflection of the soft power of America, right? Isn't it? That is. So the soft power plays even a larger role or a bigger role than the hard power. And by promoting India's cultural and civilizational values, what India is trying to do, India is trying to basically increase its soft power in the world, right? But here, one thing I am literally against is when what because India has faced colonization for almost 200 years, right? The culture of appeasement has entered in Indian mindset, in Indian psychology. How that culture of appeasement? What India do whenever we welcome any dignitary or any ambassador or any head of the state from any country, what is seen in the videos that we see is basically when they get off their jets. So what they basically when they just land on Indian soil, they are welcomed with people who are dancing, portraying their dance, portraying their song, wearing our own indigenous clothes. See, on one side, this can be good, but I am literally against this. We must not go to the extent of appeasing them by showing our culture to them. No, don't show them our culture. Show them our discipline. Show them our hard power. Show them our military. Show them our batteries of our army. Show them our squadrons. Right? Isn't this true? When Modi ji goes to China, what they show them, they show him their army. Okay, they show him their hard power. But what we show to the world leaders, we show them people dancing. Arey, dance is related to our culture. We have a very deep respect for that. But this must not be done. This should be stopped. Why are we showing them? Are we trying to appease them? Are we still at the position where we have to appease them? No, we must not do that, right? So this is the problem that I have. But rest, so in other way, we must try to basically strengthen our soft power. All right. So just write in a short way in this, right? By this means of diplomacy, by this means of diplomacy, India is trying to promote her own culture and tradition. Her own culture and tradition. Right? The examples of this are India's yoga diplomacy and temple visits that happens when when prime minister visits other countries. This helps in increasing India's soft power. Priya, you are late today? नहीं शायद you don't attend the class regularly. Is this the thing? प्रिया को शायद मैंने पहली बार देखा है आज. प्रिया, am I audible? और दिया नहीं है आप. You are दिया? फिर दिया कहाँ गई है? तो एक बार क्लास पूरा अटेंड किया करो. Don't miss anything. अब जो मैंने बताया अभी वो मैंने इतना एक्सप्लेन करके नहीं दिखवाया because see explanations are more important than writing. And सुनोगे तो ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ में आएगा. ठीक है, कोशिश किया करो जब कभी क्या कर रहे हो? सी व्हाट हैपेंस इज थक गए, हाथ दुख गया, पसीना आ गया, अरे मैंने सोचा अभी तो कुछ लिखवाया ही नहीं है, तो बस शुरुआत है और तुम अभी थक जाओगे तो हो गया। देखो जब कभी क्या होता है, व्हेन यू बेसिकली आर यू आर staying with your roommate or any of your family member, what you should do, that will basically increase the power of retention in you. Just read one thing, memorize that thing, okay, study a particular topic, keep this in your mind for at least half an hour, 1 hour, and just ask your brother, your sibling, your roommate, your father, mother, and just tell them whether you are able to understand this or not. Just hear me out and just tell them this thing, what you have learned. What will happen is now, when you will speak those words which you have just understood and just you have learned, this will bring that memory to your permanent memory. Okay, that will go to your permanent memory, and the chances of forgetting that thing that you have taught to someone na, that will be very less, right? So पकड़ो, बुलाओ, इधर आओ, चुपचाप बैठो, ठीक है? कैसे? तो मैसेज नहीं देखा था? और अरे पता है क्या, मैं मेरे हाँ ले आओ, मेरे ये ना याद नहीं रहा कि दूसरे ग्रुप में मैंने ये तो कह दिया था सबको कि ग्रुप पे मैसेज डाल दो, बट ये भूल गया था मैं कि राइजर्स वाले पे डलवा दूं। अब राइजर्स में हो ना? अब मतलब कौन सा वाला आपका नाम क्या है? क्योंकि बैच नाम नहीं है तो फिर भी नहीं, फिर कैसे हो गया ऐसा? व्हाट इज योर नेम? दिया प्रदीप, दिया, ओ अच्छा, दिस दिया है ना, ऑनलाइन जो थे अभी। दीपू, अमन को बुलाना है क्या? अमन या वैशाली, कोई भी हो। अच्छा, आई हैड ज्वाइन फर्स्ट टाइम, वाई प्रिया, वाई दिस हैपन? ऐसा नहीं करना है, रेगुलरली पढ़ो, ठीक है? अब से रेगुलरली आना है। और दिया आगे बैठो, पीछे क्यों इतना? अरे कितनी जगह, इधर आओ। अमन, एक ना वो ये स्टूडेंट है दिया प्रदीप, और ये तेजस में है, जो शाम वाली बैच है अभी, और ये एडेड नहीं है ग्रुप में। अभी आई गॉट एडेड। अच्छा, अब ऐड हो गया? अच्छा हो गया, तो ये बात भी तो बताना था। शुक्रिया। हाँ सही बात है, चलो कोई बात नहीं, अब हो गया ना, चिल। और रोड पे चलते हो, यहाँ तो मिल जाएगी रिकॉर्डेड क्लास, ये हाथ पैर नहीं मिलते हैं दोबारा। नहीं वो ठीक है, ऑफ किया, वो तो ईयरफोन लगा के सुन लो, लेकिन इतना जल्दी चल के आए हो, थक गए हो, ये हाथ पैर भगवान एक ही बार देते हैं। ठीक है, ये बार बार नहीं मिलते हैं, तो हाथ पैर जो है ये सलामत रखो, ठीक है ना? तुम्हें पता है, जस्ट टू टेल यू वन थिंग, एक मेरा चाइल्डहुड फ्रेंड, वी मेट अगेन इन दिल्ली, क्या हुआ, ही गॉट सिलेक्टेड फॉर चीफ मेडिकल ऑफिसर इन बीएसएफ, ठीक है? उसका सब हो गया, लिटरली एग्जाम गॉट क्लियर, इंटरव्यू गॉट क्लियर, एवरीथिंग गॉट क्लियर। लास्ट में एक लास्ट स्टेप था कि एक एक्सरे होना था फुल बॉडी का, और उस एक्सरे में पता चला कि व्हेन ही वाज 12 इयर्स ओल्ड, उसके हाथ जो है वो निकल गया था, आर्थ्रोस्कोपी हुई थी, और उसका छोटा सा गैप जो है वो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हाथ पैर में, याद भी नहीं था उसको कि उसकी आर्थ्रोस्कोपी हुई है, और वो पता लग गया, एंड एवरीथिंग गॉट शैटर्ड, एवरीथिंग। तो ऐसा ना, ये शरीर बहुत काम आएगा आपको, ठीक है? हमेशा रोड पर कहीं पर भी, अरे पढ़ाई वढ़ाई सब हो जाएगी, ठीक है? इसका ध्यान रखना है, अगली बार से दिख ना जाए एकदम बिल्कुल कि तेज भाग के आई है या फिर कुछ भी, ठीक है? चलो अब सुनो मेरी बात। तो देखो, कल्चरल है ना, और ऐसे क्या लास्ट लाइन क्या लिखी है? सॉफ्ट पावर है ना, तो ये, और एक और फटाफट से लिख लो, ये तो थर्ड था ना, या पता है क्या बोलेगी मनी मन, क्या सोच रहे होगे, एक तो आपकी क्लास में आई, एक तो भाग भाग के आई, कि लेक्चर ना मिस हो, और उल्टा मेरे को सुना रहे हैं, है ना, यही सोच रही होगी पक्का। और नीचे राइट राइट बिलो, these are the key drivers of India's global projections. Key drivers of India's global projections. ठीक है, तो देखो ये, दिस इज द मेजर एलिमेंट, ठीक है, ऑफ इंडिया, दी ऑफ मोदी डॉक्ट्रिन आई वुड से, ओके। सो अब देखो एक इकोनॉमिक डिप्लोमेसी को थोड़ा सा समझ लेते हैं, ठीक है, समझ तो लिया है हमने कि इकोनॉमिक डिप्लोमेसी में ये है कि जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी है दैट मस्ट बी अ ड्राइवर फॉर इंक्रीजिंग इंडियाज इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, ठीक है, that must augment India's economic growth, and for that some initiatives were taken, for example make in India initiative, for example skills development initiative, and also ease of doing business initiative, right? So these were the initiatives that are basically taken, and those initiatives are basically driven has foreign policy element also, okay, and to increase India's economic growth, all right. So and the major tool how to drive India's economic growth using the foreign policy is to attract more and more foreign direct investment, okay. So in the economics class you must if even if you haven't like studied that, you are going to study the benefits of FDI, and there are other tools also, FDI, foreign institutional investments, foreign portfolio investments, all right. So these are the tools that actually increases India's growth. Now you would say that if a foreign company, for example Hindustan Unilever Limited, is coming to India, producing everything in India but taking back all the profit to its own country, isn't this true? Yes, this is true. But what they will do, they will bring money here. They will purchase or basically rent out the land. They will build infrastructure. They will employ the people. They will use India's own raw material. And then for that, they will basically produce and will increase the development of a country, of our country. See what happens is now just giving you an example of my own village. It is just 55 kilometers from Delhi, so the valuation of the land was very low there, okay, since like before 6 years it was ultimately very low, okay. You know one thing, what increased the valuation of the land there at my place, like almost 25 times more in just 6 years. It was just the construction of a highway, Delhi Dehradun highway, that got constructed, and the rates of that particular land, which no one was actually willing even to buy, that the news only of building that highway increased the rates of that land by around 10-12%. Okay, and after like the highway, the day it got started, now land is very precious there. Okay, so this only happens by just imagine when a factory will be constructed at a place, when the industry will come to that place, that will increase the all over development of that place, right? So this is the major tool. Okay, when prime minister came to power, he called the Japanese investors, asked them, now what's the problem you are facing? Now they told ki, why for one clearance we have to come to this window, for another clearance we have to come to that, go to that window, and that window is giving us the time for 2 months. Then we came to know that now the clearance has to be taken from a branch that is situated to some another part of the country that is there. Now I have to travel there, take clearances, give corruption money to them, and then only we can basically properly carry out our business. So many obstacles. He promised them that you will be welcomed with red carpet, and everything whatever is required for doing investment in our country, for starting your business in our country, will be done in one window. Now that's the government's headache, how to arrange everything in one window, but you will get the work done in one window, single window clearance. Then got introduced, right? So see, doing business is not at all easy. In our country, it's not at all easy. There is one district in that's Balia, that's on the UP Bihar border. One of my friend is there. He is from there. He want a license for starting a petrol pump there. You know, he is been waiting there for last 8 months and not getting approval from Delhi. So doing business is not at all easy. And just think about the people who are coming from abroad. Problem they are going to face. So now he used this foreign policy for attracting more FDI. Okay? Chalo. Right. Write the heading economic diplomacy under Modi. हंसी आ रही है याद करके इसको, क्या happened? क्या happened? परेशान हो गई. From Kerala, है ना? हाँ बताया था. But name is not Indian ना, first name. हाँ, North India में ज़्यादा सुना है मैंने. चलो, right. The core idea behind economic diplomacy is that the core idea behind economic diplomacy is that the foreign policy should drive the economic growth. Should drive the economic growth. ठीक है? आपको पता है लिखो लिखो लिख लो. इनके स्टेट में पता है प्रॉब्लम क्या हुई? What problem happened in her state? Now that is actually a very educated state, and more education leads to less population, because when people becomes educated, they know the importance of education and they know how much is spent in educating our children. Now their population became less. It's a good thing. No, it's a very good thing. And our North Indian states rising their population, 8 बच्चा 9 बच्चा, ठीक है. अब this was good that was done by South Indian states. It was bad that was done by North Indian states. What happened in Rajya Sabha? The seats are fixed on the basis of population. Their states were about to be punished for the good thing that they did, because now the population is less. So in turn, the outcome was they were about to get less number of seats in Rajya Sabha. And North Indian state for doing wrong thing, not focusing on population control measures. They were
Same
about
things
to
in
benefit from that. Sorry? Yes, Vishnu?
same things in
Same thing in Tamil Nadu also. Yes, right. Yeah, all the South Indian states. All South Indian states. Down there. वो तो चलो, that's a negative thing that should not happen, okay, because the basically replacement rate must be 2, okay, because one mother, one father, they must be replaced in terms, don't take it otherwise, they must be replaced in the terms of the population, so they must be replaced by 2, है ना, 2 offsprings, okay, that's a right rate, okay. So now constitution was amended. Constitution was to be amended because constitution says that according to every latest census things will be done. ठीक है? So constitution was amended and benchmark was set. Okay, भाई इसको ले लो, ठीक है, मत करो पनिश उनको, ठीक है, don't punish her. So अब चलो तो आगे, now see, right, for this the key initiatives that were taken are, for this the key initiatives that were taken are Make in India, Skill India. यार मेरी चाय ठंडी हो गई. And ease of doing business, Skill India, and ease of doing business, etc. ठीक है? Okay. The focus of, yeah, ऐसे लिखो, the major focus of economic diplomacy, the major focus of economic diplomacy is to attract foreign direct investment and the method is by increasing government to business engagements, by increasing government to business engagements. Okay. That's what I told you yesterday. Na? Now the government of another state visits in India, or we go abroad taking all our major business groups with us. And basically when they come to India, we invite, in that meeting, we invite the business groups there. Okay. So as to increase the government to business contact. Okay. And the example of this is the investment promotion during the foreign visits. The investment promotion during the foreign visits. Okay. To promote the investments while being on the foreign visits. अब देखो, we knew that South Asian countries are very near to us. They are our neighbor, in our neighborhood. Okay. Now, what is there now? You know one thing. Every other state is basically smaller except the North Asia. That is, China is there. Okay. Leave that. But rest, so in South Asia or in Southeast Asia, India is the biggest power. All right. There is a notion, okay, there is a notion that those states they basically says, according to them, it's not according to India, they says that India is acting like a big brother. It's as per their comments, okay? India in Asia is acting like a big brother. Now our point is, no, it is not like this, okay? We started a new initiative that is basically the neighborhood first policy, okay? And under neighborhood first policy, the major objective is to increase the trade connectivity of us with all those countries, and to change the notion of big brother to developmental brothers. Okay, now, or not even developmental brothers. We want to upgrade it to developmental partners. Okay, there is no brother sister relation. Okay, we are partners. Okay, so just write neighborhood first policy under Modi. Neighborhood first policy under Modi. The objective of this policy was to strengthen our ties with South Asian countries. आज आपकी दोस्त नहीं आई? अच्छा, हाँ, उन्होंने बताया था। बाकी आप लोगों का ऑप्शनल कब होता है? अभी नहीं है। आप लोगों का? अच्छा, तो मैडम अभी तो पढ़ा रही थी। अच्छा अच्छा, नहीं इसको, अच्छा इससे पहले था ना? हाँ हाँ, आप, ओ अच्छा, चलो। सो and right, the strategy is to focus on, the strategy is to focus on trade connectivity and development. Trade connectivity and development. Okay, trade connectivity and development. And the key idea is to change the perception of India from big brother to developmental partners. ठीक है, developmental partners. Okay, clear? Any problem? पक्का? अरे लाओ कुछ प्रॉब्लम, ब्रिंग सम प्रॉब्लम. व्हाई नॉट यू? अरे तुम लोग पूछते नहीं हो यार कुछ. दिस इज अ रॉन्ग थिंग. हाँ भाई, डीयू वाले यार ऐसे इतने एक्टिव रहते हैं, तुम लोग यार चुप चुप बैठते हो यार. क्या है भाई? क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? निखिल और क्रिश. और है कोई डीयू से? विच कॉलेज? अरे कमला नेहरू से हो तुम? अच्छा, कौन सा बैच? अभी सेकेंड ईयर में? तो बहुत छोटे हो अभी. तुम भी तो साथ, तुम्हारा तो पता है एकदम छोटे हो. तुम्हारा तो पता है हमको. तुम्हारा कॉलेज कौन सा था? वो राजधानी ना? हाँ, दोनों का राजधानी है. तुम्हारा कमला नेहरू. अच्छा, कमला नेहरू के बारे में सुना है मैंने. कहाँ है ये? हाँ, सिरी फोर्ट. ये ऑफ कैंपस ही है ना? ये भी ऑफ कैंपस है ना? इसके बारे में बहुत सुना है मैंने, कमला नेहरू कॉलेज का, बट आई नेवर वेंट देयर, और मैं कभी पता नहीं है मुझे। सीरी फोर्ट एरिया में है, तो एरिया बड़ा अच्छा है, ग्रीन एरिया है ना पूरा। एरिया तो अच्छा है। तो अब देखो, now right, next point, an upgraded version of look east policy was act east policy that was started by Modi. So it was more aggressive type of thing, ठीक है, to counter the Chinese influence in our region. See, we cannot basically tolerate any other influence in our backyard, okay? So to counter the Chinese influence, to majorly focus on Southeast Asia, okay, and also basically economic and strategic cooperation, okay. So the focus was on Southeast Asia and to increase economic and strategic cooperation. Economic and strategic cooperation. And the aim was to counter Chinese influence, and the aim was to counter Chinese influence and increase regional integration, and increase regional integration. देखो, now basically one very important element, okay, now major more some few more things are there, Indian Ocean strategy and all. So but the major thing that I would like to highlight is, see, a diplomacy that is called as faith based diplomacy is started, okay. What is the meaning of faith based diplomacy? You people guess, क्या मतलब? बोलो, पर्सनल से अलग। एक पॉइंट सही, बट हाउ, द क्वेश्चन, हाउ? यस, है ना, सिविलाइजेशनल वैल्यूज, यूजिंग रिलीजन, स्पिरिचुअल वैल्यूज एंड सिविलाइजेशनल वैल्यूज to strengthen and build our foreign policy. So okay, faith based diplomacy. So Modi ji started. Why Modi ji? Why not Nehru ji? Then if Nehru, then Modi. So anyone from चलो पॉलिटिकल साइंस तो छोड़ ही दो, बट हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट प्लेटो, एरिस्टोटल? Why do we just call them Plato? Why not Plato ji? Why not Aristotle ji? Why not Rawls ji? Huh? If you have to say G, then say G for everyone, ना? है कि नहीं? बाकी का क्या सब्जेक्ट है आप लोगों का? वो है ना आपका गैलीलियो जी। आपका क्या है? हाँ, क्या है सब्जेक्ट, क्या है आपका वैसे ऑप्शनल वाला? नहीं नहीं, मतलब ऐसे पढ़ाई में क्या सब्जेक्ट है? साइकोलॉजी, साइकोलॉजी में तो कह रहा हूँ सिगमंड फ्रॉइड, है ना, तो फ्रॉइड जी। तो सबको नाम लो तुम, ठीक है, वहाँ क्या है? पॉलिटिकल साइंस है, तुम आए तो एरिस्टोटल प्लेटो जी, ऑनर्स है, बढ़िया बढ़िया। आईजीपी वगैरह अभी भी है सब्जेक्ट इन सेकेंड ईयर? कंपैरेटिव पॉलिटिक्स, अच्छा पब्लिक इन इंडिया, सीसी उसको कंपैरेटिव को लाइट नहीं लेना है। अच्छा, नेवर टेक दैट कंपैरेटिव पॉलिटिक्स लाइटली, ठीक है, उसको लाइट नहीं लेना है। वी ऑलवेज अज्यूम कि ये है क्या, कंपेयर, वी कंपेयरिंग टू सिस्टम्स, कंपेयरिंग टू स्टेट्स, है ना, इट्स नॉट इजी, ठीक है, उसमें अच्छे नंबर लाने हैं। कितना सीजीपीए चल रहा है तुम्हारा? सही सही बताना तुम्हारा क्या है। ऐसे नहीं करो, तुम्हारा बढ़िया, पर 8.5 तक लो, ब्रिंग इट टू 8.5, बिकॉज अरे अब तो कुछ भी नहीं है सिलेबस यार, बहुत इजी है, इट्स वेरी इजी, राइट, स्टडी और राइट, ठीक है। आईएएस ये याद दिलाओ तो क्या है फुल फॉर्म इसका? हाँ हाँ, अरे वो तो था ना, अच्छा, मैं अपने वजह से नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, ठीक है, हाँ, वो तो खैर देखो, देते नहीं बेसिकली उसमें, लेकिन मैं तो यार भूल भी गया, 30% तो वेटेज, 70 तो यही होती थी। तुम्हारा अभी क्या सिस्टम है? अच्छा 90 का थ्योरी है तुम्हारा? नहीं नहीं, हमारा 90 का नहीं था। अच्छा, नहीं हमारा तो ऐसा सिस्टम नहीं था यार, नहीं नहीं, आसान नहीं था, इट वॉज इवन मोर डिफिकल्ट, हाँ इट वॉज इवन मोर डिफिकल्ट। अब तो यार सेम आइडियोलॉजी बेस्ड, हाँ प्रिया थोड़ी तो बात सही है तुम्हारी, है ना, इवन मोर डिफिकल्ट। अब तो क्या है, चेकिंग में देर आर यंग टीचर्स ऑल्सो, और उस टाइम तो देर वर नो यंग टीचर, वैकेंसी नहीं थी यंग के लिए, और यंग टीचर नहीं हुआ करते थे भाई, वो ऐसे चेक करते थे ना, क्या बताएं, बहुत मुश्किल था उस टाइम। अब तो बहुत इजी चेकिंग है यार, अब तो बहुत इजी चेकिंग है यार, बहुत इजी, जब से इतने वो थोड़े केसेस हुए हैं ना, मतलब सुसाइड वाले केसेस और सो मेनी, अरे हाँ यार हंस रहे हो। उन केसेस से चेकिंग इसे देखो, यूजीसी हैज डेलिबरेटली इशूड सेवरल नोटिफिकेशंस टू ईज प्रेशर फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स, बहुत प्रेशर पड़ा है यूजीसी से। हाँ तो तुम्हें आवारा बना दे, तुम्हें बना दे, तुम घूमो जहां मर्जी घूमना है तुमको, क्या मतलब ये, तुम्हारे लिए पढ़ाई ज्यादा जरूरी क्या हो सकता है, पढ़ो चुपचाप। वाह, ऐसे ही दे देने चाहिए इंटरनल में। तो न्यू डायमेंशन हैज एडेड, है ना, ऐसे लिखो, ट्रेडिशनली इंडियाज फॉरेन पॉलिसी फोकस्ड ऑन कल्चर एंड सिविलाइजेशन, ट्रेडिशनली फोकस है, बट अब क्या हो रहा है, अब रिलीजन, स्पिरिचुअल वैल्यूज पर भी फोकस आ रहा है, ठीक है, हाँ, फोकस्ड ऑन कल्चर एंड सिविलाइजेशनल वैल्यूज, but avoided direct but avoided direct use of religion as a diplomatic tool. However, in the recent years, a new dimension has emerged by which faith and diplomacy has been linked together. Faith and diplomacy has been linked together. ठीक है, क्लियर, डन, ऐसे लिखो, what is the meaning of faith based diplomacy? What is the meaning of faith based diplomacy? It refers to the use of religion and spiritual values to build international relations and promote peace and harmony ठीक है. तो क्या बंद करें क्या? रुको इसका स्विंग ऊपर कर. रुक ही नहीं रहे. आप ठीक तरीके में वापस आएगा तो फिर आएगा. लग रही है फिर से वो हो गया, घूमने वाला हो गया, एक जगह रुक नहीं रहा है. चलो रुको अभी देखता हूँ, कुछ कम कर देता हूँ ना. बाहर इतनी गर्मी है और यहाँ बताओ. सॉरी सर, ठंड सी मतलब अच्छा वो है मौसम, लेकिन हाँ. सो राइट, अब देखो हाउ आर वी यूजिंग. वी आर यूजिंग जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल बुद्धिज्म एज अ टूल फॉर फॉरेन पॉलिसी. राइट, हम बुद्धिज्म से क्या कर रहे हैं. जैसे पीएम मोदी व्हेन visited Mongolia, he highlighted the Buddhist significance, where like how Buddhism basically started. It rose in India and then spread it to the rest of the world. All right, so Buddhism is there. Okay, so अब तो हर जगह, even for example in USA there is Office of Religion and Religious and Global Affairs in USA also. Even in European Union they uses religion as their West Asia policy diplomacy. All right, and even China uses its cultural and religious values for basically promoting their hegemony. All right, so अभी ये हो रहा है, ठीक है. So यही है, बाकी तो हो गया, इतना ठीक है, इतना बहुत है, ठीक है. तो दिस हियर वी एंड्स द, कहाँ खो गई. तो दिस हियर वी बेसिकली एंड्स द एवोल्यूशन ऑफ इंडियाज फॉरेन पॉलिसी. ठीक है, अभी हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. क्या बताया था आपने, चाइना स्टार्ट करना है. ठीक है, चाइना स्टार्ट करते हैं. ठीक है, चलो. जिसने कहा था कल चाइना, वो तो आ नहीं पाई. ऑप्शनल शायद है ना. हाँ. तो देखो, नाउ गिविंग यू बेसिकली brief of China. So India-China relations. What happened in 1949? Okay, there happened the Chinese Revolution, where the CCP basically rose to power under the leadership of, there was the Chinese premier whose name was Mao Zedong. Okay, so he was Mao Zedong, and under the leadership there it was Mao Zedong, and in India there was Nehru. Okay, now, I told you earlier, now because we have studied the evolution very vastly, okay, so this will be easy for us to understand the ideological thing. You know very well what was the ideology of Nehru. It was idealistic ideology, okay. Now here what happened, there was the revolution in the Chinese revolution in China, and also in 50 they annexed Tibet. Okay, now the another phase was that they annexed Tibet. Now, this organic character of China was increasing and China was expanding its influence. Okay. Now what happened, India under Nehru had a vision. It had a vision that we and China can coexist together. Okay, we can coexist together, and obviously China is not a threat to India. Now there was another angle that was basically portrayed by Patel. Okay, it was Sardar Patel, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Iron Man of India. He had a very different ideology. He was a very pragmatic person and knew about the ambitions of China. He considered this thing that China is somewhat growing, expanding its influence across the frontiers. Okay, and a day might come when it can emerge as a very big threat to India. But basically, Nehru denied this thing. He was the prime minister, and suddenly in 1950, Sardar Patel died. Okay, he died. Now that was a very big blow to our foreign policy, to our pragmatic foreign policy, and ultimately what happened? This by the PLA, this Tibet was annexed completely in China. Okay, and the Sardar Patel's pillar in India's foreign policy ended. Okay, now what happened? NAM continued. Obviously, you know this. We were basically a part of NAM. So US in turn sometime offered us also that we collectively can counter the rise of China. But Nehru assumed that accepting the help of USA in countering maybe China also, but this will be a part of the Cold War. He thought that if we accept that help to counter the rise of China, that will be a part of the politics that was going on under the Cold War. So he denied that thing. Okay. Now after that, what happened in 1954? Ultimately, even India and China signed a Panchashil agreement. Okay, that Panchashil agreement was signed, but still overall talking about that Panchashil agreement, that never was helpful. Why? Because just after 8 years of signing that agreement, we fought war. Okay, in 1962, there was a phase that was a idealistically good phase that is often called as Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai phase, where there were slogans that India and China are two brothers. Okay, but ultimately, as I always told you, that there is very less significance of any ideology or basically any kind of idea or any slogan or anything at the world level or in international politics. Okay, it has very less significance. All right. So after this phase, this phase concluded. Then there was the phase of Panchashil agreement that was signed in 1954. Okay, so but ultimately the war happened. Okay, so the war basically reinforced the revolutionary image of China. Okay, the China basically what happened during that time, India faced a very severe blow to its military capabilities. Okay, so this happened. After that, we will basically discuss about KS Menon and Tibet in a bit shorter way only. But first, let us introduce the India-China relations. Okay, so just put the heading diplomatic history of. तो पहले तो ये लिख लो इंडिया चाइना रिलेशंस. पेज चेंज करो, पेज चेंज करो. पता है बात क्या? इवन लीव वन मोर पेज. इफ यू फाइंड समथिंग गुड ना, किसी का कोई लाइन मिल गई एडिटोरियल में कहीं, यू कैन ऐड दिस हियर. ओके, पेज चेंज करो और फिर हाँ यहां से लिखो. ठीक है, इंडिया चाइना कर लिया ना तुमने? हाँ, सो राइट इंडिया चाइना रिलेशन. प्रिया विष्णु तुमने भी कर लिया ना? याद रखना पेज चेंज करके लिखना आप. ठीक है, इंडिया चाइना रिलेशन. यस, प्रिया लिखना नहीं है, बोलना है अनम्यूट करके. ठीक है, डोंट राइट, जस्ट स्पीक. ओके, और तुम लोग ना वीडियो ऑन किया करो जरा, मुझे पता तो चले कि अच्छे से पढ़ रहे हो कि नहीं पढ़ रहे हो. ठीक है, जरा कोशिश किया करो टू टर्न ऑन योर वीडियोस. चलो लिखो, व्हेन इंडिया achieved independence in 1947? Its approach towards, yeah, its foreign policy towards China did not evolve in isolation. Okay, did not evolve in isolation and was deeply affected by the global and regional developments. Okay, deeply affected by the global and regional developments. So in the next point, right, the following were the three major global and regional developments that affected the initial phase of India-China relations. Three major global and regional developments that affected the initial phase of India-China relations. ठीक है, उससे इफेक्ट हुआ था इंडिया और चाइना का रिलेशन. Write this heading. Yeah. So in 1949, this Chinese Republic, People's Republic of China (PRC) got established under the leadership of Mao Zedong. Okay. So and the party was the Chinese Communist Party. All right. So what happened? This led to the creation of PRC, and now this PRC was based on the ideology of Leninist Stalinist ideology. So you know this? पढ़ा होगा Lenin's approach. Huh? Who said this? This thing that imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. किसने कहा था ये? अरे बोलो, तुम पढ़ते नहीं हो. लेनिन ना? नहीं पता. कोई बात नहीं. तो ये बेसिकली लेनिन की आइडियोलॉजी पर बेस्ड था, लेनिनिस्ट स्टालिनिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी, and which means that there was very strong centralized control in China. Okay, very strong centralized control, and only one political party dominance was there, and also it was ideologically aligned with the socialist principles. Okay, now that means we have a neighbor that is very different in ideological terms from India, है ना? He had elements of socialism but not socialism. as imagined by China. So now the first thing is to tackle, or to basically, we now knew with this thing that we have to make relations or maintain relations with a state that is very different in terms of ideology from. Okay, just write in 1949. In 1949, under the leadership of Mao Zedong, under the leadership of Mao Zedong, the Chinese Communist Party, in bracket write CCP, came to power. Chinese Communist Party, in bracket write CCP, came to power. Okay, and this led to the creation of People's Republic of China. Next point, right? The new Chinese state adopted Leninist, Stalinist ideology. या अभी आइडियोलॉजी मत लिखो, लेनिनिस्ट स्टालिनिस्ट मॉडल द टाइमिंग. और ठीक है, मॉडल which meant strong centralized authority, strong centralized authority, comma, one party political system, and ideological alignment with socialist principles. Okay, right, next point. For India, this meant dealing with a new, for India, this meant dealing with a new ideological neighbor, which is very different from the earlier regimes. ठीक है, अब ये नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिख लो. ठीक है, कौन से कॉलेज में? कॉलेज कब हुआ? फोर में. कौन सा कॉलेज? हैदराबाद, हैदराबाद में कौन सा? तो यू आर फ्रॉम हैदराबाद, तो हेलो यार, बताओ। ठीक है चलो, कोई प्रॉब्लम अभी तक? कल से ना एक काम करो, सुनो मेरी बात, आई वॉन्ट एटलीस्ट वन क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम एवरी वन, ठीक है? इन द इनिशियल 1 hour आई वॉन्ट एटलीस्ट वन क्वेश्चन और वॉट एवर द क्वेश्चन, ठीक है? What is a plus b whole square, whatever the question be, but I want at least one question from all of you from the next class. Can I expect that? And the question will come only when you will study. Okay, I just need one question from all of you. All right? Okay, Priya, Vishnu, let's continue in the next class.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, bye bye. Welcome. अरे 1 मिनट, ये क्लास 5:10 तक है क्या?